Welcome to Community Focus. I'm Patrick Ross with part 2 of my conversation with Greg and Julie Kuhn. In part 1, we talked about their nonprofit organization, Cardiac Crusade. This time around, we're going to talk about the subject of cardiac arrest itself. So let me begin by asking, what is the difference between cardiac arrest and heart attack?
Well, this is the best way that we like to describe it. So a heart attack is really the plumbing, and a cardiac arrest is like the electrical.
Okay.
So a heart attack, you may have blockage would just prevent the heart from beating correctly. You could be cognizant during a heart attack. I have a friend who had one and called 911 himself. A cardiac arrest is electrical. So it is the electrical workings of your heart that go haywire, and it just kind of turns off. Mm-hmm. And that is what happened to me. And it just, from 1 minute to the next, your eyeballs are open and then you're just down on the ground. It's like flipping off a switch.
Do you remember anything about the experience, or were you just suddenly unconscious?
I remember feeling like I was going to faint. That was the feeling in my head, and it's probably I'm just getting lightheaded. But it was such a quick instance. I reached out to my friend, but I never even touched her. So I didn't even get that far with my hand.
Okay.
And then I evidently collapsed on the ground.
That's scary. We've had several incidents, I think, in the public sector of people having cardiac arrest. I think we had, wasn't it Damar Hamlin with the Buffalo Bills? Is that what happened to him?
Exactly what happened to him. And the thing is, with cardiac arrest, since it's electrical, there's many things that can lead to a cardiac arrest. With Julie, she had a virus in her heart. It was a little enlarged, and she had low potassium. Those stars aligned. With the Damar Hamlin situation, there is a cycle of the heartbeat, and it's a literal fraction of a second. When one chamber is about to squeeze, if the heart is impacted at that split-second moment, they will go into cardiac arrest.
So again, he was in a fortunate position of being in the midst of people that knew what to do.
Exactly.
Right.
I think Lisa Marie Presley also suffered a couple of cardiac arrests, and that led to her passing.
Yep, and
Yes.
she was at home. And so my understanding is that they did CPR, but it takes a while for an AED to get to a home. So, she, like the 90% who have a cardiac arrest, didn't make it.
Yeah. How prevalent is this? We talked about a couple of recent examples, but what's the overall prevalence in the population?
It's significant. In the United States, about 450,000 people die every year from sudden cardiac arrest.
Are there warning signs people should be aware of that they might be a candidate?
Sadly, I
No?
didn't have any.
With a heart attack, because it's plumbing and your heart's trying to push blood through a more restricted area,
Right.
shortness of breath, little chest pains, tingling on your arm. With the cardiac arrest, it's instant.
Are there signs that the person is in cardiac arrest that distinguish it as being cardiac arrest and you need to get the defibrillator out?
It's actually really simple. Are they lifeless? Assume that they're having a cardiac arrest. Start CPR, whether you think they need it or not. But if they're lifeless, they need CPR.
Right.
And because even if there is a heartbeat that you don't detect and you're still doing CPR, it's better than not doing CPR. You're not going to really hurt anyone. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV. But if someone is lifeless, start CPR and get the AED. And the AED will not shock if it's not going to help.
First and foremost, keep oxygen going to the brain.
Yep.
Yes, you got to keep the oxygen going to the brain. And with CPR, you're not restarting the heart doing CPR. All you're doing is buying minutes before an AED shock can get on the patient.
Okay. So what kind of training is needed?
Go get CPR trained,
Yes.
which usually is married to AED training.
Okay.
They come together.
Almost always go together.
Right.
But I do want to say, though, that you do not have to be trained in it necessarily to know how to operate it, because they are easy pieces of equipment. And if you open up the case, a lot of them speak to you and tell you exactly what to do. And even though it's important to be trained for CPR and AED training to give you that feeling that you know exactly what to do, AEDs do not need to be trained on in order to save someone's life.
Okay, so it's not so much a matter of knowing how to use it as it is when to use it and where it is. So tell me again, how can people help you with Cardiac Crusade?
Go to cardiaccrusade.org and sign up for a newsletter. You can also donate and also become a Cardiac Crusader. We are gathering an army of people who will go out and they will first identify and then verify AED locations. It's a quick process. You can do it on your phone. You just have to go through a real quick training just to verify that you know what to do and how to do it. And we are gathering those Cardiac Crusaders to help save lives.
My guests have been Greg and Julie Kuhn of Plano, who've been talking about the subject of cardiac arrest in connection with the organization they founded, Cardiac Crusade. For Community Focus, I'm Patrick Ross. Thanks for listening.